Welcome to Ibis Weather. This is Sarah. This is the update for September 26th, 2025. I did miss yesterday for a personal reason, but I am back today, and boy, do we have a lot to go over. So let's go ahead and get started. We now officially no longer have Invest 94L. It has moved on to potential tropical cyclone number 9, as denoted on the map as an X with a 9 underneath it. We do have a lot to go over that. It does look like that we have very much a higher chance of U.S. impacts, of course, the Bahamas as well, and really no idea where it's going to happen. We'll talk about Umberto and how it could be impacted by Umberto or could not be. Gabrielle, and then everything related, of course, with potential tropical cyclone number 9, and also kind of looking forward to what maybe the future we might be holding for the next few weeks afterwards. So let's go ahead and start with number 9, since that's probably where most everyone comes here for to see. Before I go ahead and get started on that, please feel free to like, follow, and share um, my YouTube page, as well as like me on Facebook for a little bit more frequent updates. I am here to give you guys the latest updates, try to break down information as it comes out for you guys into more easier to understand and digestible chunks of information, as well as make sure to get out any information that might be needed with particularly regarding evacuations, preparedness, etc. As it does look like we are going to likely see some impacts, at least, um, from this system. So please feel free to subscribe for the latest updates. Even once this storm is gone, hurricane season won't be over, so we'll continue to cover it, as well as other weather-related topics as well, even during non-hurricane season. Um, and also historical aspects of the hurricanes. So please feel free to like and share and comment. I would love to be able to keep you guys here and keep you guys informed the best of my ability. Where I try to keep you guys with information you need and maybe a little bit more information than you might be looking for necessarily, but information I think is important to have, particularly after those of us who went through Hurricane Helene, which almost happened a year ago. Um, Today and tomorrow will mark a year ago of that happening. So it's important to let everyone know things that might be information that might be helpful for you guys, for people that you know, going ahead of the storm. So please, like I said, like and share. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. This is currently what potential tropical cyclone 9 looks like. It has slowly been getting a little bit better organized. It's not there yet, obviously. It's not expected to be there until possibly 24 or 48 hours, but is definitely causing a lot of heavy rain for parts of the Caribbean, um, and of course, even now impacting parts of Cuba right now. Of course, some of the lower Bahamas and Turks and Caicos are also experiencing heavy rain. So it is definitely quite a big swath of moisture and convection right now. There is talk about the sensor actually being somewhere forming over here and becoming better stacked. So we'll see how long it takes before it gets a defined sensor and becomes an officially named storm. It could become a tropical depression before a tropical storm, as we saw with Umberto, or it could just go straight into being a tropical storm. So time will tell on that, but that is where we are with that right now. Because it is now considered a potential tropical cyclone, so it's again not a depression, tropical depression, and not tropical storm or hurricane, of course. This is where they basically will mark anything that they think is going to become a tropical system officially. Right now, it's just basically a cluster of wind, rain, and tropical style. Obviously, versions of those and thunderstorms, which are impacting people right now. As you'll notice there is no orange color or red color over here with the X's. That's because again there is not a defined center, and there's not hurricane or tropical storm force winds extending outwards. So it's just kind of all right now just a little bit of a jumbled mess. Well, impressive mess nonetheless, and a mess that is still wreaking havoc on people right now in like Cuba, Turks and Caicos, Haiti, and Dominican Republic, and maybe even somewhat lingering out to Puerto Rico. If we can see, it's kind of hard to see on this. Oh, it looks like yes, western side of Puerto Rico might still be feeling some of the impacts from the system. So it does allow them to put out alerts, warnings, watches ahead of time before anything is named, which is what they did with this particular system. Uh, and then, of course, allows them to kind of put out what is, the infamous cone of uncertainty cone, which is basically anywhere within the cone, the center of the storm is expected it could progress anywhere. If you'll notice, this is a little bit of an unusual shaped cone compared to what typically we have, and that is because there is a lot of uncertainty, mostly because of Umberto, which is to the east of this system, a little bit, I think, southeast, and of course, the upper level low that's kind of coming in through cutting into Georgia that is expected to kind of hook the system and pull it north and northwest eventually. So there's a lot of stuff to go over with this, obviously. But right now, you'll notice the blue and yellow are tropical storm watches and warnings. I believe, let's see here. I believe the yellow is, yes, watch, and then the blue is warning. So right now, it is the eastern and southern portion of Bahamas that are in the warning, with the watch for the central into the north portion of the Bahamas. This is just indicating that you guys can expect, well, for the warning area, within 48 hours or less, you guys start experiencing tropical storm forest conditions, possibly. So there it does seem to be some think that you might know coming a tropical storm earlier than what is shown on the map, which we'll touch on in a moment. And then the watch is for those over 40 hours who might expect impact tropical storm forest impacts. If you notice on the center of the cone, where they do have the letters, so D would be a tropical depression, which is not right now D. You see that's just by the X, so that's where the presumed center of, or what they think will come to center of potential tropical cyclone 9 is. Then by Sunday, early Sunday morning, they expect it to become a hurricane or a tropical storm, stay a tropical storm as it travels north and above Bahamas and enters or crosses the Gulf Stream, then become a hurricane by Monday. And then, as you can see, it doesn't really think like it's going to be moving much between Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday afternoon. It does seem to think that it could weaken into a tropical storm between then Tuesday and Wednesday, because there are a little bit cooler waters right off the coast of the Carolinas and Georgia right now, which could explain why I think that, and also just kind of the dynamic of what's going on. But we will wait and see what happens. That might change. The cone will change between now and then. We are talking again, literally, you just have this weekend to prepare. So if you guys are in the Bahamas or in the southeast, I included Florida. I know you guys are not really much of you are in the cone, but that doesn't mean you guys won't feel impacts. And if this thing tracks farther west, you guys could, and depending how big the wind and rain shields and bands reach out from around the storm, you guys may still feel it. So I would still encourage you guys to take time to look at your hurricane plan, get your preps, get your kids, straighten up anything outside that could become a flying weapon of types and storm. Make sure you go ahead and take care of those now this weekend before we get to that. Early next week. Of course, and there's some uncertainty too that this might linger into the end of next week, just depending on what happens with where it is. Again, kind of showing by this how big the hatched area of the cone is. As you can see, really, all of the Georgia coasts, the northeast coast of Florida, all the South Carolina coasts, and from the central to the southern side of the coast of North Carolina are all in it. So really, if you guys think from probably like Daytona on up to North Carolina, you guys should definitely start making sure you're getting your preps done. But if you are south of Daytona, I still wouldn't step away from this and ignore this. There's still room, there's a lot of uncertainty with the system, so you guys should still make sure that you are prepared ahead of time, anyhow, just in case. Right now, it's moving northwest at 9 miles per hour, so it really doesn't have a lot of upper level winds that are directing it right now. That's because, partly is because Umberto, which is to the east of it, which is also kind of staying stagnant currently as well. Um, so that's kind of why they're not really moving very much, not much, a lot of movement, but is still slowly drifting. We should see somewhat of a pickup forward speed until at least until Tuesday and Wednesday, possibly, um, as you guys can see over here. So that is important to note. As talking about the Fujiwara effect that we were talking about the other day, it does look like the two systems will stay quite far away from each other, so we shouldn't really expect them interacting with each other that much. There was some talk about possibly if they got closer and a stronger one, which would be Umberto, it could kick out what will become Tropical Storm Imelda to the east, but that seems unlikely, and it seems like she might have a little bit of a faster forward speed, at least initially, until she's right off the coast of the Carolinas or possibly Georgia or even North Carolina. So there's a lot going on with that. There's a lot of uncertainty right now. So what we do know is obviously tropical storm warnings and watches for the Bahamas. So make sure that you guys are prepared um, for that ahead of time, as you guys will start feeling that later on. Definitely by tomorrow. So if you have anything tonight and early tomorrow, go ahead and get that done, and we'll see how fast this thing does form into having a properly formed lower level circulation, which would help obviously with some of the modeling and tracking of where she could go. And then of course, hopefully we'll get the hurricane hunters to fly in and out and then continue to sample the atmosphere through balloon releases across the country to get a better idea of steering currents as well as we continue to go forward. Um, okay, key messages. I love to share these because I think it's important, and they don't really get a lot of not a lot of publication or publicity for it with other channels and other social media sources. So I do like to share them. Mentions this is obviously expected to become tropical system. So there are tropical, storm warnings and watches for parts of the Bahamas. Rainfall is, heavy with the system. Right now, Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, and the Bahamas will continue to get rainfall from this. There's an increasing threat of heavy rainfall partly because we do have the cold front that came through over into the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida, and into the Gulf, which is causing some heavy rain for parts of it, and then ahead of it, and then of course Imelda as she gets closer. So there is increasing the risk of heavy rain early next week for coastal Georgia through the Carolinas and including into southern and mid Atlantic states. Even though you may not necessarily get the worst of the system, you can still expect moisture and rain from that. And of course, we expect a near to be at or near hurricane intensity as it continues to approach. So obviously we should continue to monitor that going forward as well. Potential cyclone, tropical cyclone 9 and its rainfall. So you can see this is sort of where thinking about all the heavy rain. So it looks like they do have it in inches and millimeters. I will be reading the inches one. So parts of the Dominican Republic received up to 2 to 4, with the larger chunk receiving 1 and 2. Portions of it did not. Haiti received mostly 1 and 2, with the southern end also receiving 2 to 4. Um, Jamaica, again, anywhere between 4 to 1. Cuba, you guys are definitely getting a little bit heavier. There's portions of you guys that will get 12 to 16 inches, so definitely risk of mudslides and flooding, so take precautions with that. So anywhere from, I would say, 16 until 1 or 2, depending on where you are in Cuba. And then, of course, the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos will be also getting anywhere between for Turks and Caicos, it looks like you guys will get anything between 2 to 4. And then parts of the Bahamas will be receiving between 4 to 6 to 6 to 8 inches as well going ahead. So definitely heavy rain. Make sure you pay attention to any watches, warnings you guys might get for flash flooding, urban flooding, anything along those lines. Again, since we don't really have a defined um, low level circulation, it's kind of hard to figure this out. The earliest reasonable time of arrival as of this evening on Friday, September 26th, looks like North Florida will start, or South Florida to South Mid Florida will start receiving it Sunday morning, with Mid Florida Sunday night, and then from North Florida up into like all the way to Carolinas, including all of Georgia and all of South Carolina and most of North Carolina's coastal region, start receiving around 8 a.m. as the earliest reasonable time as of what is expected right now at this point. Obviously, I like to share the spaghetti model. So this is a GFS for what will be Imelda, and you can see, as always, it is the mess that often is. I was definitely seeing quite a few still take it to South Carolina. We do have a few that take it into Georgia, closer to the Savannah region. One does take it into Florida, south of Jacksonville, and one does show doing a very strange turnaround kind of situation going through over there by Daytona out into the Gulf. Some also taking it through Georgia, across the state, and then out over the Panhandle, and even one crazy one taken all the way through Alabama. Those are outliers, so it's less likely. Hence why the main focus right now is on the Carolinas, particularly South Carolina. However, we can't roll out, North Carolina or Georgia also having possible landfall from it, since there is quite a strange dynamic going on that is going to be possibly steering this as we go forward. So it is worth noting that if you're anywhere in this area, I would make sure to be prepared just in case. For the Euro model, again, most of them are taken in South Carolina, around Charleston, and there are a few that still take it over there in Georgia between Savannah and north of um, Brunswick. There's still a few that take it out to sea, which, it's possible it could happen. Seems unlikely at this point right now with the steering currents and everything that we know going forward. So definitely we'll continue to see what the trends do going forward the next day or so. Then I guys want to show you guys, I don't always show these to you guys, but these are again some of the models that they have. This is the Canadian one, the CMC. So let's go ahead and see what it shows as a possibility. Again, this is not anything like this and next to our show, which would be the Euro and the GFS. These are not the official tracks. The official track is over here put out by the National Hurricane Center. But there is a lot of uncertainty with this, and part of the reason why is because these models have quite the wide swath of different solutions that might happen. So this is not set in stone. This may not happen as what you're about to see. We'll just have to wait and see what happens going forward. So let's go ahead and go forward. So this is into tomorrow. See, going through the Bahamas. Early Monday. Looks like it's definitely a hurricane. Looks like east coast of Florida might be getting some impacts from the outer bands. See it being kind of parallel to Umberto over here, right off the coast of North Florida and Georgia on Tuesday, early morning. And then we see Umberto continue to go out east and essentially pulling out Imelda, and then Imelda gets separated and then makes her final approach going over there by Myrtle Beach into North Carolina. So that is a possibility. It may happen, it may not. This is just one solution that could be a possibility. Let's go ahead and look at the Euro one. Let's see what they show. So we'll see Imelda down there, kind of floating around. This is tomorrow, Saturday. Now we're into Sunday. It's going through the Bahamas. Monday it is strengthening and going a little bit further off the coast of Florida and Georgia, entering a little bit closer to Georgia now by the Savannah River and getting bigger. It's a little bit north of Umberto, and it makes landfall over there by Charleston. And then it kind of just sits around, half on land, half on the ocean, which is a terrifying thought. That would bring a lot of potentially heavy rain and flooding conditions to a lot of South Carolina and Georgia, and even parts of North Carolina. And just kind of floats around and stays there. Then it finally moves inland over into Georgia by the end of next week. So, again, this is not an official track. This is just one solution that one computer model is putting out. Let's look at the GFS one and see what that shows. So, this is Saturday. See, kind of jumping around the center, going into the Bahamas. Sunday, Monday. It's paralleling the coast of Florida, getting pretty close to North Florida and Georgia coastline by Monday evening. This is early Tuesday morning. And it looks like this one is also kind of taking it out along with Umberto and away from the coast. So no official landfall on that one, which is nice. It's a solution. It could happen. Doesn't seem, I mean, I can't say it doesn't seem completely unlikely. We'll have to wait and see out of these three, which is technically the one that happens. But you can see why they do have such a large cone of uncertainty for future Imelda. I mentioned this not yesterday, but the day before. I would show you guys the intensity guidelines for it. We do see two at least taking it as a category one taking it close to a strong category one, the other taking it to a strong category one, close to a category two, most taking it keeping on a weaker category one or a tropical storm. So we'll have to wait and see again without a closed circulation, lower center circulation. It's hard to kind of gauge what will happen. We do know it's going to travel over very warm water with uh, more ideal shear levels in the atmosphere, which could help strengthen it. So we'll have to wait and see. We should get a better hold of that once we do get that better defined lower level circulation going forward. As for the ensembles, this is a Euro one, so you can definitely see. So this would be Umberto, all these pink ones over here, and then all these coming from Cuba on north would be Imelda, future Imelda. So definitely you can barely make out the state of South Carolina. You definitely see a good portion of them over there in Georgia. Even one basically taking it, kind of ricocheting off Daytona, and a few taking it over the coast of North Carolina as well. So you know definitely looks like South Carolina is right now kind of the idea of where it could. Of course, there's still outliers and a wiggle room there, unfortunately. So we'll have to continue to monitor that. Let's see what the GFS shows. So this is the GFS one. So again, this would be Umberto over here, and this would be Imelda. Even more of a mess as typical and true. Definitely keeping it further off the coast of Florida and Georgia, closer to Myrtle Beach as landfall, but still over there in solution all over the Carolina coast, South Carolina coast specifically. A few taking it up to North Carolina, and a few, of course, taking it through Georgia. So time will tell what happens, which model will win. um, Maybe the Canadian one will win too. I mean, we just don't know yet. But definitely South Carolina. Be super alert to this. South Georgia and North Carolina as well. You guys need to be prepared, since there is not really a good consensus still at this point right now. Of course, with talk of it possibly stalling, there has been a lot of concern about incredibly horrible flooding conditions and heavy rain in areas that already suffered greatly from that, thanks to, again, almost a year ago, Hurricane Helene. So I do want to show you guys some of the models what they're showing for terms of rainfall for the southeast coast. So this is for from day one, so about from tomorrow until Tuesday at midnight. So starting midnight tonight until Tuesday, midnight Tuesday, early Tuesday morning. Um, so you do see over there off the coast of South Carolina and even part of like Charleston, you guys could see between 3 to 4 inches. Of course, you guys might see 5 inches, of course, and lower than that, and then of course heavier rain across Georgia, and of course North Carolina, and of course areas that have already had heavy rainfall in North Carolina from Helene, and then of course eastern Tennessee as well. And then for the 48-hour one for days 4 and 5, so this would be again at midnight on Tuesday through midnight on Thursday. Definitely see more heavy rain. It's going over there by Myrtle Beach into the coastal North Carolina region. Um, and of course, still heavy rain more in the low country, um, and Georgia coast and Florida coast as well. And then for again 40 hour from day 6 to 7, so this will be valid from midnight October 2nd, that's this Thursday, to midnight October 4th, which is next Saturday, not tomorrow. And still heavy rain, unfortunately, under for most of the Carolinas, Georgia as well, with a little bit deeper, more heavier rain right off the coast of Georgia and South Carolina. And speaking of South Carolina, their governor this evening has already declared a state of emergency. So this basically frees up resources, allows them to have a way if they need to uh, issue evacuations, which seems unlikely at this point. Maybe for the super low lying areas if they do get heavy rain and surge, especially if the storm does kind of stall out off the coast, they might see something. But also to kind of help protect things like, make sure they can't upcharge for gas and things like that. It just frees up state resources. So they're usually one of the first and fastest to do that along with Florida. So I'm not surprised that they jumped on this already. That's about Umberto now. So this is his satellite image. He is, like I mentioned, he's a small little fella of a hurricane. He does look like he's being sheared a little bit squashed over there on his western flank. But he's definitely got that beautiful eye, that traditional eye that you see with a hurricane. He is right now, I believe, a category 2. So he's definitely chugging along. He's definitely kind of sitting over open Atlantic Ocean. So there's no warnings, no threats associated with him right now, which is good news. Oh, this is his cone. So again, if we look at this compared to the cone that they have um, for future Imelda, which let's go ahead and take a look at that. So this is Imelda's cone, so you can definitely see it's a great bigger circle starting out from to Monday night into Wednesday evening compared to what we have for this one. This is definitely more of your traditional standard one. So right now he is a Cat 2, I believe. Let's see. His maximum sustained winds is 115 miles per hour. He's moving west northwest at 5 miles, so he is basically just stalled out there. We do see his tropical storm force field does go out pretty far. Hurricane force not so much. He should become a major hurricane this evening into early tomorrow morning, and will maintain major category status until between Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday afternoon. Bermuda, you are into cone right now, so that means you need to make sure you have your preps done and ready. This cone will shrink as we go over and more, forward. Right now, you guys are in the wider area of the cone and the hatched area, so as we get closer to between Tuesday and Wednesday, this will change, and hopefully, you guys will get out of the cone. But of course, you guys can probably expect possible outer bands and, of course, rough surf and currents from Umberto. Earliest reasonable time of tropical storm force winds for you guys will be Monday, between Monday morning and Monday night. And then, tropical storm Gabrielle. She, as you can see, she has gotten quite wide in terms of her Winfield. She is again post-tropical cyclone now, so there will be no more updates sent out from her. But it does look like she is continue to, keep her source of wind speed going forward until she goes over there by Spain, and then she'll become a depression by Monday morning, it looks like. So her current max sustained winds is 65 miles per hour, so that's tropical storm force winds. She's moving east northeast at 31 miles per hour, so she's moving at a good clip, and that is where she is right now. So no more updates on her going forward. And then, of course, global hazards, talking about in the future. So next week, it does look like from the Cabo Verde Islands out to the main Atlantic development region, there is a 20% chance, and then 20% chance will then be over there by the Gulf from the 8th through the 14th. We should get an updated one come Tuesday of this week to see what happens. We'll continue to see. There's a lot of talk that we're now kind of in the Atlantic awakening phase, meaning that we can probably start expecting to see more storms. It's certainly going to be back. It certainly appears like it's going to be a loaded back end of the season as we saw last year, which isn't surprising. They do usually come in twos, pairs of twos. I've mentioned previously before in this channel, so it's not surprising, but certainly interesting. So again, stay tuned for updates from my channel and of course on my Facebook page for further updates. And I thank you guys for tuning in. So we'll go ahead and leave out again with the key messages right now. So if you're in the Bahamas, please make sure you heed any watches and warnings you have right now. Some of you are in a tropical storm warning, some of you are in a tropical storm watch. No matter what, you guys are going to have heavy rain. Stay safe if you are in eastern Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, and of course the Bahamas through the weekend as you guys experiencing the heavy rain as we saw. Of course, if you're anywhere from Georgia up to North Carolina, monitor, monitor, monitor. We do have heavy rain coming from this weekend, and then of course by the system, especially if the system does stall off the coast. And of course, we don't know right now when it will make its landfall. If it will make its landfall right now, we just don't have enough information. It does seem more likely that we will see somebody being impacted by this. So again, if you're anywhere from probably realistically from Central Florida up to North Carolina, just be prepared. And for the flooding, if you're from coastal Georgia up into the Mid Atlantic, just be prepared and make sure you have proper source to get information and updates and warnings. And we'll keep covering this and we'll get through this together. So, guys, thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you guys later on.